Hi bears and friends. Not sure if I'm streaming yet. All right, so today I'm going to continue reading on the financial matrix. I'm quite enjoying this. I hope you folks are too. I'm posting the previous readings of the book, the chapters, on my affiliate with Callie on my YouTube channel, and I've got the link below on my channel there, so you can go and check that out if you want to catch up on them. So I'm just going to continue on. I've got a little slideshow going as well that I hope you can see okay. All right, so we've been, the last chapter was on the ant and the elephant. Talked a bit about the financial matrix quadrants, and the financial fitness program uses the same types of quadrants as Robert Kiyosaki does, and they expand it a little bit more more in a practical sense of how everyday people who only have their income from their 9-to-5 job, how they can utilize those quadrants, and that you don't have to be a big rich financial genius to move yourself through the quadrants from a broke person to a financially free person. And so I briefly touched on the ant and the elephant in the last reading, and it started out with the chapter 7 short-term denials, and it talked a bit about how denying your short-term wants into long-term desires. And they talked a bit about the employee quadrant. So I did the last reading was on the getting paid by the hour kind of being in the employee quadrant, the pros and cons of that, and then moving into instead of being an employee, being an entrepreneur, and moving into the self-employed quadrant and the pros and cons of that. And so now I'm moving into the business owner quadrant, and that is your per relationship. You're not getting paid per hour. You're not getting paid per job. You'll be getting paid per relationship, and the pros and cons of being a business owner. So he goes on to say, my personal breakthrough occurred when I began studying B business owners and discovered they made money based upon a system satisfying the customer's needs. If an S business owner is like a barge owner, then a B business owner is someone who builds a bridge instead. With a bridge, the cars can transport themselves across a river by paying a toll to use a business system created by the B business owner. So the S business owner was a self-employed business owner, and that is the person who he's the one providing the services and gets paid based on the service that he provides. And basically when he goes home, the business goes home with him. Now this B business owner is basically talking about a business system that you set up, and so you'll still get paid regardless of whether you're actually there or not. So the benefits of building a B business were easy to identify. The business works even when you are not there, and with routine bridge maintenance, the tolls create a daily income stream not directly tied to how many hours or how many tasks the owner performs. In essence, the business system works day and night to satisfy customers. Long term, this sounds much more enjoyable than working 12 to 16 hours every day for the rest of my life. I remember hearing Michael Dell, a gentleman just a couple of years older than me, give a talk to the Detroit Economic Club when he was worth around $21 billion. Needless to say, my net worth at the time was slightly under $21.5 billion. Maybe it was maybe $21 and $4.99 billion short or so. I couldn't understand how Dell could achieve more than all the salaries of all the engineers I worked with when I knew he could not be working nearly as many hours as all of my engineer friends. Even if Dell were 5 times smarter and worked twice as hard, he couldn't work any harder since I routinely put in 12-hour days. Then he should have been around 10 times wealthier than I was, not millions of times wealthier. This helped me see the difference between the E, the employee, and the S, the self-employed quadrants, which trade time for money, and the B quadrant, which builds leaders and systems to satisfy customers. The former are limited by the amount of hours in a day, while the latter is limited only by the amount of customers who choose to use a systematic solution to satisfy their needs. I finally understood why the key to escaping the financial matrix is to build a system that results in a business asset. Since the system asset is what satisfies the customers and makes money rather than a person, the asset can work indefinitely without getting tired or needing sleep. As a result, the bigger the business gets, the more it frees a person financially from the time money trap. Now I knew I would be stuck in the financial matrix for decades unless I learned to build a B business by learning people and business building systems, just as had Sam Walton and the other successful B Quadrant business owners did. That was kind of a mouthful. Let me just reread that. As a result, the bigger the business gets, the more it frees a person financially from the time money trap. Now I knew I would be stuck in the financial matrix for decades unless I learned to build a B business by leading people and building systems, just as had Sam Walton and the other successful B Quadrant business owners did. The system side wasn't going to be a problem since I was a manufacturing systems engineer. However, the people side for this headstrong engineer was not going to be easy because I tested extremely high in process skills and low in people skills in every personality test. In fact, my high school yearbook stated under my senior picture, arguing, early and late. If a line were crooked, he'd argue it straight. To this day, I have no idea who inserted that in our yearbook. Still, when the dream is big enough, a person can change the facts, and I needed to learn people skills. With time, I learned that assembling a leadership team and helping them achieve their goals and dreams was even more fun than creating a workable system, but this took time. Indeed, the thought of working with people at first produced only fear and trepidation. Nonetheless, if the path to freedom required we develop people and systems to create a business asset for ongoing income, then that exactly was what Lori and I would do. The concept is nothing new, for an ancient Chinese proverb states, if you want 1 year prosperity, grow grain. If you want 10 years of prosperity, grow trees. If you want 100 years of prosperity, grow people. I wasn't exactly sure how to do this, but committed to do whatever it would take, legally, morally, and ethically, to learn how to build people the way I knew how to build business systems. Naturally, the downside of a B business is that it requires time and effort to develop the leadership and systems mindset. Further, unlike a job where a person gets paid while on the clock, a B business owner only gets paid when his business system satisfies the customer. This can take years to perfect, and some people do not have the perseverance to stick it out. Perhaps this is why so few build a B business, since it takes more time than today's microwave age is willing to give to get results. There are simply no guarantees in a B business unless one is willing to invest the time to create a workable system. Some would see this as not worth the risk, but I viewed it as my only pathway to escape the financial matrix. Moreover, while the work is tough for a period, the results are enjoyed for life. One of my early mentors taught me, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. I used this saying many times in my life to get going when things were tough. Eventually, I developed another system. You either hate losing enough to change, or you hate changing enough to lose. I didn't necessarily like change, but I hated losing, and I knew I had to make the leap from the E, the employee, and S, self-employed quadrants, to the B quadrant, the business quadrant, and then to the I quadrant. And the I quadrant is the investing quadrant. To do so, I would need new information because the thinking that had produced my existing results was learned from employee and self-employed mentors. I knew that to make new decisions, I would need new information, so I started a daily regime of reading personal development books and listening to audios to make myself into the leader capable of succeeding in a B quadrant business. So now that brings us to the next section, the investor quadrant. Per ROI, pros and cons. So that means per ROI is return on investment. The I quadrant, or the investor quadrant, consists of investors who are free from the financial matrix through applying consistent defense and offense to their finances. The financially free investors have wiped out all their debts, including home mortgages, and have built investments producing enough income to enable them to live indefinitely outside of the financial matrix. In other words, they are debt-free and cash-rich, and they receive enough ongoing income to live financially free by by purchasing bridges built by others. This should be the long-term goal of every person in the civilized world, to enjoy significant ongoing incomes without significant ongoing time investments. The investment or the I quadrant investors have applied long-term dreams and practiced short-term denials and now enjoy the power of long-term duplication in their favor. Indeed, when debt-free B or I quadrant people go to bed at night, they wake up wealthier, a sure sign that they have broken free of the financial matrix. Investors now have money making money for them, and when their I quadrant income is enough to support their lifestyle, they can live indefinitely without income from the E, S, and even the B quadrants. Whereas every other quadrant invests time to make money. Even the B quadrant invests time to build people and systems. The I quadrant is the only one that invests money to make money, and this buys back time. Naturally, the I, or investment quadrant upside, is the money, time, and freedom from the financial matrix, while the downside is simply the time and effort invested to reach it, unless the person inherited wealth. I believe since it takes effort to live no matter which quadrant one chooses to start in, we may as well apply the effort to build a B business to free us from the time for dollars trap. Once this effort is successful, the I quadrant beckons. See Chris Brady's and my book, Beyond Financial Fitness, for more details. One of the links below as well, I have it, that takes you to the Life Leadership website that has all these books that he mentions on it. So if you're interested, you can buy any of the books from that website. And also, just to let you know, because I don't pretend that I'm not, I guess, what do you call me? I'm an independent marketer for the Life Leadership products. So if you buy any of the books, you go to that link or that website from the link that I have down below. That is my affiliate link. And so if you buy anything from that, it supports me. And I am trying to follow their advice. I'm to the point now where I'm almost debt free, and I'm using their advice to build a business, with using the system that these guys have set up. And I'll go into that a little bit later on, but you kind of almost have to have the foundation of how this systems, how the financial matrix works, because what he's doing here with this book is laying the groundwork to let you know how the elites use systems to either keep us down or how we can use those systems to pull ourselves up out of that matrix. Okay, so just to continue, so beyond financial fitness, okay, so once this effort is successful, the I quadrant beckons. See Chris Brady in my book, Beyond Financial Fitness, for more details, where money makes the person more money and the freedom to live his dreams is the reward. Indeed, an employee, a self-employed person, and a B business owner can all reach the I quadrant and escape the financial matrix, but the fastest route is to leverage the left side quadrants for short-term security while building the right side quadrants for long-term dreams. Let me repeat that. The fastest route for most people to become financially free is to leverage the left side quadrants for short-term security while they focus on creating a B business, systems making money, that eventually leads to the I quadrant, money making money, lifestyle and dream fulfillment. So I think on this slideshow I have one of the pictures is of the quadrant. So the Robert Kiyosaki quadrant is 4 squares divided into like a cube, and so the top left, here it is right here, Robert Kiyosaki. So E, employed, bottom is S, self-employed, big business is a B, and investor is the I. So you use that left side, the employee and the self-employed quadrant to launch yourself over into the other, which is the B business systems and the I investor. The long-term dream, escape from the financial matrix, that Lori and I imagined in late 1993 became a reality over the next decade. By 2004, we had paid off our mortgage and have lived a debt-free, financially free people ever since. And have lived as debt-free, financially free people ever since. Over the last couple of years, our I quadrant investments have returned enough to support our lifestyle. This allows us to build businesses to fulfill our calling rather than pay bills. The same I quadrant lifestyle is available to anyone willing to apply the principles taught in the financial fitness and beyond financial fitness principles consistently. I don't promise easy, but I do promise worth it. And that brings us to the Dan and Lisa Hawkins story. Dan and Lisa Hawkins, to use another of the life's founding couples as an illustration, are an excellent example of a young couple who took Warren Buffett's advice to heart. When they studied the principles in the financial fitness program, they realized their lack of capital was hindering their ability to go on offense. To use a football analogy, their defense was so poor that their offense rarely stepped onto the field. Through mentorship, however, Dan and Lisa got serious about debt reduction. Although they only made $50,000 per year combined, they quickly wiped out debt by applying the proper financial principles. For instance, Dan was spending $8 to $10 every day on vending machine snacks and drinks, and an additional $5 to $10 on lunch. These expenses were quickly cut out as Dan began packing a lunch from home and curtailing his soda pop consumption on the job. They also canceled their cable subscription, began to read more, and used the money they normally spent on movies and dinners out for business training and personal development materials instead. Gaining confidence in practicing short-term denials, Dan sold his hot rod Mustang and paid cash for a $3,000 replacement vehicle. He then used the remaining cash to pay off Lisa's car. effectively eliminating $600 of monthly payments. With the extra monthly cash flow, Dan and Lisa paid off one credit card and then another, and over a couple of years, they eliminated two car loans, several credit card balances, an ATV loan, computer loans, student loans, and finally their mortgage. Dan and Lisa disciplined themselves to follow 4 simple principles, which are among the 47 principles taught in the defense, offense, and playing field of the financial fitness program. Number 1, when you receive income, immediately put 10% towards savings. Number 2, then minimize expenses, self-entertainment, and maximize investment, self-education. Number 3, service all debts with minimum payments except the highest interest rate debt, which should be paid down with all extra funds. Number 4, after the first 3 items are done, pay the rest of the bills. Once the process was rolling, the victories being achieved created momentum for future successful outcomes. Not surprisingly, thanks to their disciplined approach to finances, the Hawkins family eventually accumulated thousands of dollars in savings. With their business income continuing to grow and all debt eliminated, their nest egg grew rapidly. This allowed them the freedom to purchase a house 3 times as big as their previous one, with a substantial down payment. As Dan and Lisa built up their savings, they retired debt and used a larger cash flow to increase investment in themselves and their growing business. Newer cars and better vacations followed as the Hawkins family lived a cash lifestyle in which they only spent money they already had earned. Still, they kept saving a portion of all income. Amazingly, through increases in their business and consistent financial discipline, the Hawkins family went on to buy an 8,500 square foot custom home on over 20 acres, paying almost 50% equity at closing. Goal is to pay off mortgage within 5 years. Dreams do come true for those who read, listen to, learn, and apply the timeless principles of financial fitness. Today, Dan and Lisa lead a multi-million-dollar leadership company and speak around North America teaching financial and leadership principles to others. By following Buffett's 2 key wealth-building principles of getting out of debt and investing in themselves, Dan and Lisa Hawkins went from living in dread to living their dreams. So that is, I've actually heard Dan and Lisa at a conference I went to a couple of years ago, and they really are an inspiration. I think Dan was a mechanic, and Lisa had a child. She babysat or kept kids in her home, and so between the two of them, I think at that time their income was about $50,000, and they were in debt up to the eyeballs. And we're just both of them struggling to make ends meet. And so they were a real encouragement, because I can remember at the time when I was listening to them, like if this couple can do it, then anybody can do it. And like just listening to their story was just amazing, because they were just a typical young couple working their butts off. But they were just totally ignorant of good financial fitness principles, and so when they learned them, they applied them. And I guess that's the whole key to this. You can read and learn and be around people who have the kinds of lifestyle that you desire, and you can learn as much as you want, but if you don't apply it to your own life, what's the good of it, right? So once you're learning these principles, it's really important to start applying them, to sit down and put into action what you're learning. Okay, so that I'm going to end that chapter there. The next chapter is long-term duplication, and this is going to go into a bit more about how to use a duplicatable business system start jumping into that business building quadrant. So I'm going to go into that. I think I may do that this evening as well. I want to try and get through this book because there is, I want to start going into the financial fitness principles and start so that you can start actually building a budget and applying it to your everyday lives. So this book is the kind of like the why you should go ahead and how and just to give you a little bit of a foundation and a hope that it's not beyond your where you're at right now to get out of debt and to start building whatever your dream is. All right, so that's it for now. Peace out, and we'll see you on the next video. And again, like I said, below my channel here is the links to my website. You can go to Healthy and Well. I'm building that site out right now, healthyandwell.ca, and that has a lot of really good information in it as well. I do have a debt reduction calculator on that financial fitness link. So if you go to that web page, there's a lot of links to resources that you can grab. The financial fitness program, that link is also below in the description box below, so you can also click on that and go to that. If there's any books that you want to buy, like I said, I'm an independent marketer, so if it's something that you're interested in getting more information about, I can certainly talk to you about that. And I do call people to explain things out to them as well, but I don't phone a whole bunch of people. You have to be serious about getting some information. Otherwise, we're both just kind of wasting our time because all the information is on my website and all the information is also on the financial fitness website. And they have tons of videos and stuff explaining things on that site too. All right, so that's it for today. Peace out, and we'll see you at the next video.